everybody, welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shift. That's Milton.
Hello.
That's Bryn. He's left Facebook so it doesn't exist anymore. That's how it works now, right?
No, I'm still on Facebook. You can't not be on Facebook at this
You just
point.
don't go on it and share the episodes anymore. That's what you're telling us.
No, he still does it.
Yeah, I'll still share it on my actual Ruby Motorsport page. Just my personal stuff.
Nice plug there, Matt.
It was a solid plug.
That was a subtle plug. That's a BBC level plug. Where you're not allowed to plug.
Oh, you're talking about that kind of BBC plugging.
Yeah, Bryn's mind's in the gutter. He's missing Chris, obviously.
So anyway, so this week we're kind of going to talk about the thing that we all enjoy. We're going to talk about motorsport.
Oh.
Wow, Bryn, is it? Are you okay? Do you need...
Bryn's mind is in the gutter this week.
Bryn needs 10 minutes alone with some lotion.
I got 10 litres of oil just there. Oh.
Wow.
So, sorry, Bryn.
Right. Before the rabble...
When you're done...
Glass cleaner?
Yeah.
That's going to sting.
Is that your top tip, is it, Matt? Should I get some glass cleaner for the bedroom? I'll stick it in the top drawer next to the Johnnies and the lube.
Yeah.
So we're talking about motorsport this week.
We were, but you know what? So, I mean, that was someone buying something on the website.
Hey!
Winner.
We'll just turn the tablet off while we're doing this. So we're going to talk about motorsport and all the good things about it and all the motorsports that we can't wait to bring back. Incidentally, the reason the volume is on the company tablet is we took it with us to watch Milton race because I was trying to be really technical about the map. And what I discovered was I have not set up the timer for this locking itself in any way, shape or form that's conducive to doing that.
No, we're doing it. So doing a track walk at Formula G, you usually look at the map and go, where am I going? Where am I going? That way. But then Bam was going, hang on a minute. Put the 13-digit passcode in, fingerprint, retina scan.
He was just
DNA sample.
He was doing a little Gymkaha on his tablet to open it up.
It basically
It's the pattern out.
Yeah.
That's how you unlock it, right? You just round the barrel, round the big tyre thing. So I'm going to commit to something, right? The link to that video is there right now.
Explosion underneath it.
Top right, usually.
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
Is there going to be an explosion on the screen now as well?
No, Milton. And the reason there's not going to be an explosion on the screen is because
you're going to be doing lots of editing.
Someone didn't even get on the podium.
All right.
So, no explosions.
And they don't. Therefore, they don't deserve their explosions this week.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I sucked balls.
However, the video makes it look like Milton's the king of the ring.
King of the bins.
It's all in the edit.
Somebody lose really good. Go down there, up there, across there. It'll be down there as well. It's everywhere. Anywhere you look, you'll just see Milton losing.
Yeah. I did a really good burnout and you're going to hear lots and lots of turbo noises.
You will hear, so what we did was we jammed the microphone in the engine bay.
And since, there's a lot of turbo choo-choo noises.
Yeah. So hopefully Milton had the camera recording when he did his mental burnout at the end because he basically threw a paddy like a toddler.
You may also see me getting a little angry and punching the steering wheel because I fucked up.
I'm hoping you weren't on the Max Sports when you did this burnout.
No, I was on R888s.
I mean, still pretty potent for a burnout.
They were like 10 psi. They're down to chords now.
I'll be nice and smoky.
Yeah.
I think probably the most disappointing thing for Milton was that he didn't get to do the thing that, upon winning, Luke immediately did and did a burnout the whole way down the course.
Oh, I could have done it, but I didn't want to get. I don't want to get in trouble with the staff because they're a bit funny. They don't like burnouts.
Boring.
I know.
So yeah, so
I mean,
motorsport-
Santa Pod in general isn't a fan of burnouts, but they'll allow drifting.
Donuts. Yeah, I was
Santa Pod in general.
Yeah, they don't like
well,
burnouts.
specifically, they don't like static burnouts because it ruins the tarmac and
which
pulls
it does.
chunks up. So
Yeah, I did a rolling burnout on donuts and stuff. So
yeah,
I also scared a photographer
Yes, he did do
because
that.
she was standing at the end, and I was like, "I'm doing a burnout. Oh, you look fun. I'm going to go around you." And she stepped back, and I just kept going. But afterwards, I spoke to her. She said it was all right. So
There were some quality photos.
it was
that
the
came
her
out
that
of it.
got it. A VU photography. I think that's who it was. It was cool.
Yeah.
Every single photo will be blurry as she panics.
You're
some
sure.
really good shots actually from it.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of other motorsport,
So me and Milton have been out racing. Well, Milton's been racing. I've been filming because my car's still caked in rust. But like,
and cow poo.
off. I'm gonna give it a wash.
make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that I did the same thing to the RX-7 last year.
So I want to get out. I'd quite like to do some circuit racing if I can get the money together to get the 5 back on the road this year.
I'm doing a motorsport event in July.
Are you?
I am. I'm doing an auto solo in the Mondeo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
gonna be...
like me saying I'm going racing, and then turning up to pod in the toaster, and trying
It's
to.
a motorsport event. I am driving in a motorsport event, regardless of what I'm driving in.
Make sure you turn off the traction control, Matt.
Oh, I will. It's my free Mondeo. I'm gonna go and thrash it around.
But you're just going to have that thing that I always hated at auto tests, which is watching a standard car go around, because it's going around reasonably quickly, but just making no noise, and it's all kinds of wrong.
There's only one thing for it, Bryn.
Take the air filter out.
Yeah.
We've got to put a pod filter on it and a scaffolding pole for an exhaust before it goes.
I mean, if you come and film it, I will take the air filter out before I start.
No, just
Well,
take
you
it out
let us
anyway.
straight pipe it.
You just take the cat out. It's all right.
I'll probably break the noise limits at Kerber if I do that.
Undo the bolts.
There's no noise limit at Kerber. No one's ever got in trouble when Violent Running have been at Kerber filming for doing burnouts and donuts down on that bottom car park. That never happened. Check out Norbert's video, which is popping up here.
If you remember. Is Kerber any good? I've seen videos of it.
It's quite fun. It's not suited to high-powered cars or big cars, but for an MX-5, it's quite a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been out
Aren't
in
they
stage
really
view
against
in it.
drifting?
They're really against drifting, yes. I
Yes.
did some drifting there, and the man was not happy.
Is it because you went off a little
so
bit?
fast. I tried, right? I went to this day, and I was like, I cannot wait for this. I'm going to do a grip day. I'm going to go so quick. And the first time the back end stepped out a little bit, it was just like, right, well, fuck it, chuck it. Let's just have a bit.
But that's what I did when I did a track day at Donington. Going around in the MX-5, I went into the first corner a little bit too hot. The back end stepped out, and instead of trying to correct it, I just let go of the wheel instinctively and just held it around this first corner. So you just can't help it. The back end steps out, and your instinct is let go.
We need to do it.
Full up.
It's a good little track, and it's quite scary because it's very thin, and you can go
Yeah.
really rather quick.
Isn't it
Yeah,
basically a
it's-
figure of 8 kind of layout?
Yeah,
It's a sprint circuit.
Yeah, you can.
So it's a
sort of-
tiny sprint circuit.
Yeah.
I did have an entertaining time filming there where someone complained to the event organizer that the guy with the beard is stood too close to the apex for me to go quickly. And the response of the event organizer was, he'll jump. Just do what you want.
Yeah. Not. They wouldn't get that. If they're complaining about that, they're not going to get close enough to the apex anyway.
Oh no.
They're scared of hitting. We need to do a grip day like Bedford Autodrome or something. That'd be fun.
No, we should find out how much Kerber is.
Blyton's good fun. If you haven't done Blyton before.
Brighton. That one's an airfield and it's got loads of,
Most tracks in the UK used to be airfields.
it's got like a bank around the edge.
Sort of.
Am I thinking of the right track?
Maybe it's if you see the track, it's got big yellow curbs everywhere.
I don't know.
I remember that one. You did a grip day there, and you had a real good time at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, so I did a grip. I think it was the first ever grip day that I did.
I remember this one.
No, actually no. It was the one after Donington. So the Donington was free track time. I was like, I enjoyed this grip day. I'm going to go and do another one. And I paid one of the guys I used to work with was an ARDS instructor, so I paid him, and he went down and taught me. And I had 3 hours of open pit lane, and then it was a sprint day, and he taught me for 3 hours. And in my too low on standard road tires with a welded diff MX5, standard power MX5 at the time, I was faster than RX8s and supercharged MX5s and stuff. But at one moment during the open pit lane practice, I'd been obviously getting faster and faster, and a corner that was flat out earlier in the day wasn't flat out anymore. So we went backwards rather quickly. We must have been doing about 80 or so. There's a video on my YouTube channel somewhere of the incident. But yeah, we went backwards into some gravel, and I left the bumper on the track.
Oh, I thought this was when we got stuck on a curb and you was beached. Gee, I swear you did that, Matt. You got stuck on a curb.
No, I've never been stuck on a curb. But at Blyton, their outer curbs are like sausages. So when you run wide, you go over it. Because I was too low, I would like slide over this curb before dropping off the end.
So what you're saying is, essentially, you combined Tony Hawk Pro Skater with motorsport.
Essentially.
And did a 50-50.
Yeah, down this curb. You could literally hear the chassis rails grinding
Matt,
along
you
it.
wasn't that low.
It was pretty low.
It was pretty low, because they say the best thing for MX5s is to have the wishbone sort of straight.
Parallel.
Yeah, mine were like that.
Yeah, I remember following you to pod at one point, and when you lower an MX5 a lot, obviously you get quite a lot of camber gain. I remember watching him, and every bump he went over, the top of his tyre moved sideways as much as it did up. It was horrific. I don't know what camber you were getting over bumps.
6 degrees, -6.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. -6 is what I'm trying to dial out of the stager.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to move to, was getting some of that camber out, but I bought an RX-7 instead.
How's that working out for you with your
In fact, it was about, as I was selling it, the Destroy or Die were doing their drop knuckles and their camber arms and all of that shit. So that was my next plan, but I never got around to it.
Other brands are available.
No, they're not.
They're not. That's the
They're
problem.
not. That's the fucking problem.
Bryn
Somebody posted today about drift
Bryn
arms.
Motorsport Drift Knuckles coming soon.
Bryn, you was about to say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think I've remembered what you're on about, getting beached on a curb. Are you talking about when Nick tried to mangy the straight at Kerbra and went right through a foam barrier and got stuck?
Yeah.
I just remember someone got beached.
I was in the car. I hit the barrier. I was scared. Those foam barriers, pretty soft. Didn't know that. Thought I was gonna die.
Wait until you drift into a concrete wall. That hurts.
I've done that once, and Bryn got a video of it, didn't you?
Yeah,
Bryn?
you hit it a lot less hard than I've done, Mr. Mac.
Yeah, but you were hitting it with the rear end on purpose. I crashed.
Yeah, you did crash.
50 mile an hour sideways into a tree is probably the sketchiest crash I've ever had.
In a car that's basically a bean can.
No, that was in the Mini.
Yeah.
The worst crash I did was
it was a new Mini, Milton. It wasn't an old Mini.
Oh.
Yeah, I rolled my first car.
You people.
I don't even understand how people manage to roll cars.
Lift off oversteer for a start. 3 weeks after passing my test, and then the particular spot where I crashed, there was so the road's here, the field is about down here, but there's a mound of grass here. So
Yeah.
it obviously come round, hit that, and then it's gone over.
All that
Oh,
tells me is you ran out of talent.
Well, yeah,
What?
it was 3 weeks after passing my test at 18. I
Just
didn't
going
have any talent.
My problem is I might be quite judgy because of how young I actually started driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get really confused by like people who are like 18 and like prang their cars.
I was just 18, actually, to be fair.
I had.
Um,
I haven't had a crash on the. I've only had one crash on the road, and that was me being stupid. Ever since then, I've been fine.
that's the only one I've had on the road.
I drove
I've had like 2 properly spectacular on the road crashes.
There's a lesson for you. Don't be a dick on the road.
I
If you're
wasn't
not-
actually neither of my crashes was either one being a dick.
Was you going at exactly the speed limit?
No. So the first one I was in Nottingham, and going down a road past the student halls because I was a student at the time, and a load of parked cars down one side of the road. I'm doing like maybe 25 and a 30. This Audi just bombs it out round the parked cars and hits me head on. Hits the car so hard it bounces back into the curb, snaps the rear axle, and when it lands on its front corner again, it snaps the front axle.
Well built.
Good effort.
That was like, I have no idea how quickly we're going.
Speaking of breaking axles,
Yeah.
I'd like to try off-roading.
Yes. Can
Like-
we do an
Yeah.
off-roading day, boys?
I have done an off-roading day in Alice, my friend's series Land Rover, and it was pretty good fun. But what I learned is that if you own a Land Rover, you will have to repair the wheel bearing at some point in the day, because every time we went back to the pits, there was some poor bastard with his wheel off putting a new wheel bearing in the car. That's just a thing. Off-road car, terrible wheel bearings. Who'd have thought it?
So when you go on track, brake discs and pads become consumables. But when you go off-roading, wheel bearings become consumables.
Yeah, these boys all just had spare wheel bearings. Like, apparently that's the thing. You go over a tiny bump, your wheel bearing just gives up the ghost.
That's like,
Really?
But that was good
Yeah,
for me that day. Really,
I've never-
really enjoyed it.
Like I say, I've never driven off-road, but I've been a passenger in an off-road car before.
Most
That's
of the
interesting
time-
because you get to like 45 degrees and you think this is going to roll, and it doesn't.
I've done a few days, like when I was at school, big up to Shookers in Shrewsbury for my first ever go, where they just like chucked the keys to an old Defender at me and were like, go and do the test course in the back garden. To a 14-year-old child.
Yeah.
Isn't there like experience days you can go to where they give you the car and just knock your socks off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like Land Rover in Shrewsbury have got this test track out the back, and part of the stuff we had to do at school was off-road driving. It was like sort of like Duke of Edinburgh kind of stuff. Like you learnt to camp, you learnt to read maps, all that kind of stuff.
And learn how to go down a 30-degree incline.
Yeah,
Apparently.
but I spent like 2 terms just doing off-road driving. On a Thursday
I tell you
afternoon.
what, though, in a good segue onto another topic, if you go to Coventry Motorfest, Land Rover are quite often there with their like big metal structures, giving out passenger rides in brand new cars. So you get to go down like 30, 40-degree inclines.
Yeah.
They have the seesaw thing that you get to go over and stuff
They
like
do.
that.
There's a couple of seesaws. There's a couple of like triangles where they go up, and then the
Yeah,
car's
they have
like
it on a
that,
sideways,
and then it's like douche, and then it's like douche, and then like that.
But it's a good opportunity to experience it in like that sort of setting, and you don't have to go and drive and stuff like that. And you take kids with you. It's great fun.
Do you know what we need to do, boys? There's only one thing that's going to make the perfect episode. We need to go drive in a tank.
You can get experience days doing that.
Yes, my dad got one for his birthday a few years back, driving a tank.
Was
Can
it
you
any
rate
good?
driving a tank?
He loved it.
Can we have?
Loved it.
Do you think they'll let us all go out at once and have a tank race?
There were 3 of them in there. Not a race. Probably not.
Like, we'll just line up, and we'll be in the driver's seat, and then we'll just go.
The worst drag race ever.
Speaking of tanks,
Only because you'll lose.
I'd like to try banger racing as well.
God no.
I would
Well,
like to try
when-
banger racing in the aforementioned tank.
Well, I've already said when the Mondeo's finished,
Yeah.
take it banger racing.
Or stock cut, like where it's non-contact, but then there's bumps and stuff like round.
Non-contact sport.
Yeah.
Stock car is a bit different to banger racing. Banger racing is pain incarnate.
No,
Stock
no,
cars occasionally
my uncle.
crashes.
No, because my uncle used to do mini stock cars at Henham Raceway.
Well, stock cars is different.
Yeah.
No,
Bangers
there's
and
different
stock cars are two very different things, Milt.
There's different classes, but they were in the same theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And he rolled it twice. He went off the bank and did a perfect 180, like red fist roll, and then tried to get back on the track. No, he weren't allowed back on track.
Ah.
Apparently, it was dangerous. He's like, it weren't my fault I rolled off the bank.
Well, whose fault was it other than the person in control of the vehicle?
The other 3 cars on his inside pushing him off the track. But he was too ignorant to lift off the throttle. Sound familiar?
What?
That'd be you on the outside. I'm not lifting. I'm not moving. There's a bank coming. I'm still not lifting.
No, Milton, that would not be me. Because you lot would be trying to push me off, and I'd just swerve into you instead.
That was what he was doing, and
I would literally be foot flat to the floor. Nope. No.
You know what I'd do? Slam the brake.
Did he just prove my point?
If they're all steering into me, I'd slam my brakes on, go back, and then they'd all just go off the bank themselves.
No, because then you're losing your lead. You don't do that.
Yeah, but while they're off going that way,
drop
I'd
back
zip up
just
the
enough
inside.
to do a pit maneuver on the front car.
Yeah.
Or
I just
you
wanna
take
try
the
all
front
of
end
my-
of their car off with a full-on...
I just want to try every kind of motorsport,
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair.
except for rallying. I
I want to go at rallying.
I would love a go at rallying, but the chances of me surviving that particular encounter are slim to none. I will
Yes.
do a
I
full...
would end up in a tree.
Yeah,
I would do a full Hammond in a Rimac.
I've been asked to do some rallying before by somebody who said they thought coming from drifting and stuff, and I saw as that I'd be quite good at it. I said, would you like to come and have a go at rallying? And I was like, no, thank you. Too many trees. Rallycross, would love to have a go.
Oh, hell
Rallying,
Yeah.
you can get fucked. I do not want to roll myself off a cliff.
Yeah, no,
So you don't-
rallycross is something I'd want to have a go at.
Yeah, definitely.
It's nuts. You just watch some of the events where they're... But even you can have some gnarly crashes in that.
Yeah.
That's
I
fine. Much happier to crash into a barrier, some gravel, another car. Trees, for some reason, just don't do it for me. I don't like the idea of dropping either. Dropping into a crash, bad. Rolling over,
The thing
So
is,
you don't want to have a
trees-
go at hill climbing? Like Pikes
only
Peak?
the kind of hill climb where, like, the hill goes up on either side of you.
So you
So-
want to
so
do
not-
a valley
not
run
Pikes
then,
Peak.
Bryn?
Oh, Pikes Peak, Jesus Christ.
What about that Iceland one where they've got like 1400 horsepower cars and they've got like paddle tires?
Oh, the ones that... Oh, that's very good.
They did it on
Oh,
Top Gear.
yeah. Well, it's like cliff. They're almost climbing cliffs at that
Some
point.
of and some of them they go rah, and then if you get enough speed going forwards and you've got enough power, you can drive on water.
I mean,
Yeah, I've seen them.
you've got to remember that like people that live in Iceland are mental.
So
Mhm.
Bryn doesn't want to roll, but he'll have a go at that cliff driving, even though if you get it wrong, you roll over backwards.
I didn't say I'd have a go at that. Hell no. I'll do
Right.
the drive over water bit. I'm all about that.
Bryn, will you hold the camera for me in the passenger seat while I have a go at that?
Hell no. Even trialing, which is like the baby version of that. Hell
Yeah,
no.
but Bryn, you know with me, we're getting all the way up that cliff because I will not take my foot off the pedal, and
That's
I
the
have the
problem.
So
heaviest
you're
foot.
the one that's
How
going to
you
start doing a
died.
backflip and just flip completely over.
Yeah, but I'll get a full 180 and full 360
You won't
and we'll
roll.
keep going.
I've watched American Rock Crawlers, Bam. That's how you die. That is how you die. Nothing's happening, and they're all squirming along, and then suddenly they get some traction.
Backflip.
They just fucking yeet off into a tree somewhere.
Have you seen those rock crawlers where you're like, I can't even climb on that with ropes and the right equipment. Yeah, and
Yeah, and you're
and
gonna
then you
drive
look
up
behind
it.
you, and then there's a Land Cruiser with tires, and it's like this, and it's going up slowly, and it's just like, how are you doing that?
That physics doesn't allow this.
Yeah, is that a cheat code or?
I tell you what, I do want to try stadium super trucks.
Yeah.
I've discovered what we all want.
Any track racing with jumps in is amazing.
We just want to go. We just want to wobble everywhere because they go round corners when you put enough power down.
Yeah,
they just
three
go.
wheels.
Is that a
Yeah,
theme?
they come out of the corners and they're like three wheeling.
It's a solid route to go. I think if I was going to do anything tomorrow, like, I actually really want to give, and Milton's going to be so happy when I say this, I really want to come and, like, fuck about with the boys down at Fueltopia and maybe upset some people, maybe not.
I wouldn't mind to go at some point.
I think it'd be good.
I think if I was going to go and do something tomorrow, I want to drive a single seater.
What?
Single seater, like for a Renault
Like a Formula
4.
car with downforce and like.
Because what I heard him say was a senorita, and I was like, what?
No,
Wow.
single seater. Like a Formula car, so downforce, sat on the floor, that sort of thing.
Just don't do.
Such an idiot.
I'm really sorry for having to bleep out Milton's very inappropriate joke there.
It wasn't trying to be funny. It's just it was a bad crash. I watched it happen.
It was a bad crash. I am, yeah.
No,
Wow, that was a long beep.
just
And
a wishy thing.
swoosh.
No, I'm not even.
Yeah.
No, I'm over swishy things. I'm just gonna find stupid sound effects to lay over Milton, so it sounds like
Yeah,
he's
like-
saying stuff.
So I made myself just then. So that's why that beep was there.
Yeah.
Is that better?
It might not even be a beep, mate.
What would you do then tomorrow, Milton?
Not what I just said. No, the rallycross does sound cool as well.
Yeah,
With-
definitely
with-
rallycross.
With the jumps and with the ones with the jumps and the Joker laps and
Yeah, it makes it very interesting, the whole Joker lap thing.
it's a bit of strategy.
I mean, in 4 laps, that's about as much strategy as you need.
But then also, I'd love to try touring cars or Ginetta Juniors or something.
Yeah, definitely touring cars.
Even though they're kids in the Ginetta Juniors, they don't drive like
Yeah,
kids.
but you
and they're-
blend in just fine, Milton.
The thing I find with watching the Ginetta Juniors is that because they're 14, I think they're 14 to 17-year-olds, they don't know fear yet.
Oh no, they don't.
And they haven't got any racecraft yet, and they haven't got the foresight of, well, they have got racecraft, but
Some of
they
them,
haven't, a lot of them haven't got the maturity of foresight of, I need to bank points.
yeah. There's
So they
another
go for
3
every
races
move.
today. Yeah.
Oh, they are comedy. I remember being at Donington and watching 3 of them come down the hill into the 90 at the bottom. And there were no way 3 of them were fitting through there. One of them got shoved off onto the grass and he kept in it. So all 3 of them hit each other in that corner. And it was just a 3-way off cloud of dust. I'm just like, great, guys. 10 out of 10. All 3 of you are fucking morons. The guy on the outside, all he had to do was brake and just let the other 2 go. But nah, he was going around the outside.
Yeah. I love watching stuff like that at Donington, especially when you watch like the Clio Cup, because they'll do the same thing. They'll come 3 wide down the Crater curves, and it goes left before the right at the old hairpin, and you get to the left 3 wide, and it's 3 into 2, and then one of them just goes zip across the grass, just straight across the grass, and then out the other side.
I think a Ginetta would make a cool drift car as well.
It would. My boss
You can
used to
buy
have
them.
that, actually. I thought they
Yeah, but they're like 60 grand, I think, aren't they?
Something like that, because they're pretty much race
they
cars.
They do various ones. The big high-end Ginettas are. The old ones were like kit cars. They were pretty cool back
Oh, I'm thinking of the G40s, the little ones, because they've got a 1.8 engine and 180 horsepower or something, or 160 or something.
Can't remember off the top of my head.
But
They are cool little cars, though.
imagine that with some nice wheels, lowered. They've already come with a cage.
Yeah, they look absolutely awesome.
I don't know whether it would meet the regulations, actually, because I think it'd probably be classed as a kit car, because a lot of it's fiberglass.
Well, yeah, it's a tube chassis, so
Yeah,
well,
you're probably not allowed.
Well,
You can have it for yourself.
so those chassis and fiberglass aren't allowed. So that's half of the pro class out then.
No, they have
Yeah.
the pro class have proper chassis, but they're not tubular, like fully tubular like an aerial atom.
I'm not gonna name names, but say like cars that are like massive boats that weigh like 900 kilos now because they've had so much cut out of them.
But no,
It's
not
in the
going-
rules.
not going there. Barely.
Look,
Barely.
because now we're getting on to the important bit of motorsport, right? And you boys always get like all technical about whether or not it's a rule break, whereas I'm just really interested in the way in which you can interpret those rules to bend the rules right up until the point they're about to break.
Yeah, see, I think a good example of that at the moment is in Formula One with their flexible wings. So what's happening at the moment is, I think mostly it's Red Bull, is there's regulations that say a wing must take a certain amount of force before it snaps. And that's a regulation so that if you brush against a barrier, your wing doesn't just disintegrate. And at the moment, what's happening is as a Red Bull's getting up to speed, its rear wing is going from that, and then it's just slowly bending. So it's had less. It's obviously got less drag at high speed, and obviously everybody's arguing that that's against the rules, but it's not
It's not.
because
No,
it passes all the crash tests and everything.
because that Ferrari have got that on their road cars, haven't they? On the front bumpers.
They've got some fins on the front of the 458. There's a similar thing.
Koenig
Same.
did it on, I think it was on the Agera, and I remember watching a video with Christian von Koenigsegg saying about like all these other cars have these active wings and hydraulics, and he was just like, they're heavy. Our wing just bends when you go fast. It's like this guy.
Yeah.
But how do you know right? If we make this X mil thick, when we get to 180 miles an hour, it would bend enough
You
to
can-
generate downforce, but then it won't snap.
You can
Wind
do
tunnels.
calculations. One of the most beautiful things about carbon fiber that's part of how the guys in F1 are getting away with it is because it's a woven material, the direction in which each layer is put on affects the strength and how the thing twists. So you can be really, really clever with a bit of carbon fiber. So you can lay it in a way that, say you load it here, this edge will twist in a certain way. So they're all designing their wings so that when the downforce goes on, the bits they want to twist in a certain way. It's really, really cool. I'm sure it's incredibly difficult to calculate, but that's what they're doing.
It's a more simplistic way of looking at it is when you do 3D printing. So your 3D printing layers go like this, and if you need to put a weight on it here, don't print it that way round because it will just snap.
Mm.
So you print it the way round that it's going to have the force on it, and obviously with the carbon fiber weave, it's a very similar thing, just in more complicated ways in 3 dimensions.
Very true, but I mean, I don't get why people get. I understand if you're another competitor, you get upset because you feel someone's broken the rules, but you're not actually upset that the rules have been broken. You're upset that you didn't think of it first.
Pretty much.
No, it's a lot of the ones I was on about is everyone knows that rule.
Yeah.
It's, for example, that say you're not allowed to modify suspension, or you're not allowed to make the engine bay bigger to fit an engine, or you're not allowed to cut the engine bay, the firewall, to make it fit your engine.
Yeah.
Even if you do put another plate of metal over it and it's still the same, it's not the same as OEM, which is in the rulebook. Everyone, if that's the case, I could fit a 2JZ in my MX-5, but I can't cut the firewall. Am I right, Bryn?
I'm not
It
denying.
depends on the rule set you're adhering to.
Yep, I'm not denying what you're saying. The other problem is that everybody interprets rules differently, and some people are wrong. I've had arguments with people who are reading the rule book and saying, this is what it says. And I'm like, it absolutely fucking isn't. You just want it to say that. So you're trying to make up that you think it says that. But it is clear as day.
Well,
It
I-
says do not cut
the
between
front
here and here.
suspension mounting points and the rear suspension mounting points, you're not allowed to modify the chassis.
I did the same thing actually. I read the rule book for the MX5 the MX5 Cups, I think the BRSCC Championship, and it says you have to use a 1.6, but it also says you must retain the stock brakes. 1.8 brakes from an MX5 are stock.
Yep.
No,
It doesn't say you can't use them.
Well, yeah, then see that's a problem. If it says you must retain the stock brakes, I would say you must retain the brakes that came on the car.
But
would
they
agree
are
with-
stock brakes from an MX-5.
But they're
I
not
would, yeah, but
stock
it's the
brakes.
retain word within that.
Yeah, they need to add. That's the thing.
It didn't say retain. It said you must use stock brakes.
So what
Oh.
you do is you get a 1.8 engine in it, and then you take that out because it'll have 1.8 brakes, and you put the 1.6 in.
Yeah, you just move the 1.8 carriers across. I'm still using the 1.6 litre calipers.
Yeah.
See, there's stuff like that you have to be really.
And-
exact.
And it's one of those, because at that point, is anybody going to come and measure the 10 or 20 mil difference on your brake discs?
They will.
It's noticeable enough. Yeah, somebody I know. Let's go with that. Has done some inventive things within the rules before because of similar things. It's not specific enough what you're not allowed to do. For example, in this series, you're not allowed to space the carburetor away from the manifold to make your intake manifold longer. However, it says nothing at all about the trumpet length you're allowed to use. Bit dumb. It just says you have to use a trumpet that bolts up, so you could make that as long as you want. Also, flywheels have to be a certain weight, but it doesn't say they have to be a certain inertia. So what you can do is machine the absolute bollocks off the outside of your flywheel and then add a really heavy spacer to the middle bit. And now you've got a lightened flywheel that's still within the rules because it still weighs 8 kilos.
It was a very similar thing that happened to BDC a few years ago, wasn't it? So the rules said you must use a tyre marked 265 millimeters wide. So what somebody did was get a 285 or a 295 and have the markings changed to say 265, which was still within the rules.
And that became his race number since. If you look up number 265, you know exactly who was cheating because that is now his driver number.
But he was disqualified in the end.
No, he wasn't, was he?
Was he?
No, they measured his tyres and I think it just all got hushed away.
He was still adhering to the rules. That's one of those, and this is generally what happens in Formula One. Is they're still adhering to the rules. So what Formula One does is go, okay, we'll close that loophole from next year. So that's what they did with the DAS system. So Mercedes had the steering wheel that came in and out, and it adjusted the toe of their front tyres so they could warm their tyres up better. And according to the rules, that was allowed at that point. But from this year onwards, they changed it to close the loophole.
It's also to get less drag on the straights in it. And
drag off the toe on your wheels.
Yeah, toe makes a big difference because
Oh,
you're
okay.
straight. They're scrubbing across the ground slightly.
Yeah, I think that's the reason they did it was to heat the wheels up. I guess that was one of the bonuses.
Getting back though onto
just generic motorsport.
Yeah, rather than just rule cheating. Getting back onto what I would have a go at tomorrow, because I think Matt's kind of right. It's something like a single seater would be good fun. But what I've really, really got an itch to scratch is something that makes stupid amounts of power and grip. You know, the kind of thing where you just put your foot down and it'll just hook up and go. And that is time attack cars.
Yeah.
I would love to have like 1,000 horsepower with wings that are twice as wide as the car. They
Like
must
Gobstopper.
go like an absolute stuck pig.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine the feeling of that? Just
That's one of the reasons I want to have a go with downforce, because downforce is one of those really dark arts that allows you to go stupid fast around corners without thinking you can go that fast around a corner. So if you go way back to like one of the Gran Turismo games, they turned around to Adrian Newey and said, build your dream car without regulations. And it was a 1,400 horsepower car with an enclosed cockpit, covered up wheels and all the rest of it. And you could go to Suzuka and go around 130R flat at 240 miles an hour because it had downforce. It's like,
I think the thing about downforce, it rewards you from the faster you go.
Yeah, the faster you go, the more grip you've got.
So if you don't have the balls to go around this corner at 160 miles an hour, you're going to crash. If you go around it at 90, you're going to crash. You go 150, you're fine.
Yeah.
So the
Most
moral of
people-
that story is, if you're a bad driver, if you can't handle your car at low speed, downforce and then you're fine.
But
That's the thing is, I've never, down high speed driving. I don't think any of us have done really. We've gone fast, but
I mean, it's a takeaway, Bryn. I know you were judging me for that statement, but it is a takeaway.
I think I would imagine I
Get
have
off your-
probably been the fastest of any of us here because I've been round Myra's high-speed test loop at 100 and something. It was quite fast. And then the guy that was there doing Triumph's test riding came around the outside of us on a motorbike on a banked corner with gravel everywhere. And I'm just like, that guy's fucking insane.
How fast did you go?
That is. I need to get back on a bike.
I will not ever buy myself a bike.
I'm
So
getting a
no,
bike.
I will kill myself.
Yeah, Milton's getting one.
I've been
Milton's going to
allowed.
end up like me when I get on a bike again. Dead.
I've had a bike before.
This is why I'm not buying one, because I know I will kill myself. I'll do something stupid and kill myself.
It might not be your fault, Matt. Like me, wasn't my fault when I had a massive crash in 2012. I could have died. Someone pulled out in front of me, and I went into his passenger window.
Yeah, he still wants another one.
Oh, I've ticked the 3 boxes, and I've got permission. I've got the little ones. I've got house. It's all right.
You got life
I-
insurance. Is that house paid for
Yeah.
when?
Yeah.
See, I think I'd really enjoy having a bike, but I wouldn't trust myself on it.
No,
That's like
that's one of the key things. To ride a bike, you have to have the right kind of mindset. You have to A, not be scared, but B, you need to be mindful. You need to be aware of the kind of danger without making you nervous that you can't then.
that's why I'm getting a 125 again.
But aware, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
just
also-
quite like a little 125 to pootle about on. But the problem
Well,
is, I'll get on a 125, and then I'll want a 1000.
Well, yeah. I only did 1,000 miles. I did 1,012 before I had my crash because I was being gentle because it was a new bike, so I wanted to bed the engine in. So I knew how many miles, but I was still learning. I still couldn't go around corners or anything at any kind of fast speed.
I'll tell you what we'll try and do one week. We'll try and sweet talk a German bike friend of mine to come onto an episode, and we'll just talk bikes for an hour.
Okay.
I'd love to. Bikes are just there's another level of speed, and if you're looking to get into bikes, you've got a long wait because everyone has had the same idea. So it's like a 58-day wait until my CBT. Not like I'm counting.
It is
the
a
problem
long-
with that. I don't think it's that. It's the same issue you've got with booking driving tests at the moment. Is the fact that they
Backlog.
couldn't do it for a while.
Yeah, it's backlog.
And now that it's back on again, everybody who couldn't book for 6 months or however long it was that they were closed for has all booked at once.
Yep.
Well, they just pushed it back in order, so everyone got pushed back. So
Yeah.
if you was meant to be in January and you got pushed to June, people that were in June have been pushed to December, etc.
So we've
Yeah, and
we've
then
reached,
everybody who's booking new is after that.
we've
Yep.
reached that part of the episode where we've started giving consumer advice, and we know every week that that's when we wrap things up.
It's because we're about as good as giving consumer advice as Old Top Gear was.
Good English,
and
man.
this is why we never give it, and I always end it when it starts, right? So,
I
moral
would
of
like
the-
to try a supermoto as well. That'd be fun. If I ever had the skills to do it.
My old housemate had a
So I think we'd all agree.
We need to win the lottery.
If you can race it, we want to try it.
Yeah, and Gymkhana and Rallycross are top of most of our lists.
Rallycross is higher. Gymkhana's fun, and it's actually it's anyone can get into it. It's not a bucket list sport because everyone can get into it.
I would have said Gymkhana's like a step up from auto solos.
Yeah.
It's a different level, isn't it? I've
Yeah.
got because
It's a similar sort of thing because you have a layout and you have to drive around cones and do it as fast as time as possible.
but you don't get as much practice, and you only get 3 runs.
Yeah, so auto solo is straight up 3 runs there, your 3 runs, that's it. And then usually they do it in reverse as well, whereas obviously Gymkhana, you get proper practice time and all that, and you're racing head to head against somebody.
That's the difference, yeah.
And autosolo is geared more towards like proper entry level, so you just rock up in whatever your daily driver is or your weekend fun car, because you have to have an MOT and tax and all that stuff.
And carpets.
I don't think you do actually.
It's different classes, isn't it?
It's they have different classes and stuff like that. Whereas Gymkhana's more, it's geared up to bring your race car down. You can still enter with a road car, but
it's getting that way, yeah.
It's getting to that competitive point where people are starting to build cars specific for it.
But they still weren't the fastest.
No.
And MX5. I would like to try drag racing as well. Another tangent. Cletus McFarlane, watching him do 6-second passes.
I mean, that's something.
I'll let you run my 5 down pod, mate, if you want to have a go.
Yeah, run your own MX5 down pod.
I've done that, but I'm talking like 14. They do like 1,400 horsepower and they're in a run. They're like, and the car's on the dyno and it's doing this. Oh, another tripod car doing a wheelie, and he's like,
so you're talking like sub 8-second cars.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
I mean, you can get twin.
A normal car on a drag strip is really, really fucking boring. Drag racing is only fun if you're into the data and stuff, or you're going fast.
Have you ever? I assume we've all been at a pod show where they've run their jet car down the track.
Yeah.
Like 5-second passes. Like you can get like 2-seater ones of those, so you can get a ride in a jet car. I'd love to do that.
And he lifts off at the 8th mile as well,
that's why he only runs 5 seconds, because those jet cars are capable of like 3.
Oh yeah,
it's like 3 seconds at 300 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's not enough runway.
Yeah. If nobody's ever seen a jet drag car, go and see one, because when it passes you, it hits you in the chest, and then the noise deafens you like a fraction of a second afterwards.
Speed of sound, isn't it?
Yeah, it's insane.
So yeah, we've occupied close to an hour of your time again.
And didn't even really say what we're looking forward to this year.
Yeah,
Coventry Motorfest month.
Nobody knew that was the topic. So
until right now,
we've had a new topic.
Coventry Motorfest month. 4 weekends of Coventry Motorfest.
The best thing about Coventry is when they close it all down.
And let me race.
The best thing about Coventry is the one time that they've got to finally let me out on their ring road when it's closed.
Well, this is the thing. Like,
you need a MSA license, don't you?
Yeah. So part of what they originally did was when the government said yes, motorsport can close roads to do motorsport events. Somebody went, yeah, let's close the ring road in Coventry and doing a weekend, which they did. And then I think it was 2 or 3 years after that, they set up a proper time trial event. So there's a proper legit MSA motorsport event on that weekend on the ring road. Yeah. It's part of one of their sprint series, I think.
It's definitely a time attack thing.
Yeah.
But it's now a 4-weekend event this year, themed weekends. I'm probably going to at least 2, probably 3.
Yeah, but Formula G is not going to be there, so it's not going to be as good.
Is it not? It's been there like every year bar 1.
Yep, because the drifters basically paid Coventry to go there instead.
So it's been there every year bar 2 now, Matt.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, the first year was drifters as well.
We done 3 years and we shared it with them, and then 2 years. Then 2 years later, we got the track to ourselves, and they said everyone said it was the best years. So
yeah, because that was the year you were champion of champions.
2018, yeah. 2019, I lost to Mantas, and then he won grid.
But it's all right because Mantas lost by what? What was it? Like 0.3 of a second?
He lost to Woodham by 0.3 seconds. He lost both sides.
Can Mantas boast that he beat a 4-wheel drive Subaru though?
I don't know if he beat Bucky. No, he lost to Bucky, I think.
Yeah, you beat him.
No. Yeah, I beat Bucky.
So, end of the week. because we're reminiscing. No, we're not looking forward to stuff we'd like to do. So we'll try and do a sign off properly this time for the third time this episode. So yeah, this week I have been Bam, who's been very tired. That's been Milton. That's been Matt.
Bye.
That's been Bryn. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Toodles. Oh, you forgot. Like and subscribe and all that lot.